everyone? Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tuber. Welcome back. It is your 10th Matlock episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. I want to apologize once more that our Matlock review has been delayed. Some personal life stuff happened. There was a brief opportunity I could have recorded it live, but I had other things to take care of, and that was more important, to be honest with you. And I went away to Florida for the weekend, so this is my literal. And then I have Super Bowl, so today was literally my only day I can do it without Rookie, and then other projects we're working on right now. We're kind of heating up on a couple things, so I didn't want to fall too off track, and so I do apologize. And plus, today was the last day I had Paramount Plus because I bought it because I missed an episode of Matlock back in November, I believe, if anyone can recall. And afterwards, I was supposed to cancel it before the holidays were over and accidentally auto-renewed it for another month, which worked out timely since I kind of needed the episode, so it worked out. Today was the last day I could realistically use it without before triggering auto-renewal. So thankfully, that's all settled for me, and now I can cancel Paramount Plus and hopefully catch the remaining 8 episodes of Matlock before, things can change. But with that all being said, yes, I do apologize for the delay. I'm going to try and do my best for the next, I don't know exactly how long Matlock still has left. I know it's 18 episodes, I believe. I'm confusing it right now. It's 18 or 20. I believe it's 20, but I could be wrong. I have to double check my facts. But no, either way, we're in the second half now. I'm going to do my damn best to try and have no more breaks, no more delays. That's not in the show. I do apologize. I really love the storyline. I really want to see it, and obviously things do in my personal life do get priority sometimes. But I'm going to try my best, so I do apologize. So I hope you can forgive me. But with all that being said, going back into the actual storyline, I really was surprised by this week's episode in a good way. I very much like it when a story kind of goes a little bit off trail, a little bit, kind of really trying to delve a bit deeper into things and putting things in a different direction, because again, like I said before, Maddie has had nothing but some rough terrain, but has relatively kind of been very smooth on her destination, so to speak, kind of having a lot of things kind of work out her way at the end. I think this episode, it kind of played with us with certain aspects of it that didn't really work out, and then when certain things did work out, another thing. So I was actually surprised of how much they kept us on our toes and everything, especially with all the other miscellaneous subplots happening this week. It did all work out to the end conclusion of we are beginning to start to really get into some rough riders for Maddie, whether that is going to directly affect her or indirectly affect her. That is going to be key as we kind of progress forward now into the second half of the season and trying to see how this is all shake out. Also, I just realized, it's not a spoiler, but Senior, we haven't seen him in weeks. Not gonna lie to you, I'm aware he's not a main cast member, he's only recurring. So it's kind of weird to it's been so long since we've seen him last. So I just was curious with where is Senior? Is this convenient that Senior just up and left the show when he was cleared as a suspect, at least for the moment. I'm pretty sure they'll find some way to bring him back. And so I'm damn, where are you, Senior? ¿Dónde estás? But honestly, no, I really did enjoy this episode a lot. I think it hit a lot of chords for not just the primary storyline, but just for a couple of our characters, really getting to dive in a little bit deeper into a couple of our characters as we kind of try to progress forward into these really choppy, where on one end it's totally fine, it's going exactly smoothly as Maddie's planning. At the other end, it's okay, now Maddie, you might be beginning to crack some bridges, because again, there's only so much you could do to be the neutralist. You can't really your actions can't really make everyone happy and benefit your motivation. It's going to become impossible, and this episode finally is beginning to showcase at least the beginning cracks of that. Again, how that will all be rectified towards the end, who the heck really knows. But with all that being said, let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this episode of Matlock. So I want to say we begin back at the household. I think they're just Maddie and her husband are touching base again. Obviously, last week she officially decided to not view Olympia as a suspect anymore in the Damn, I already forgot the name of the documents they're trying to like the big pharma the opioids documents. So she's ruling them out, and with Senior already acquitted at least for a crucial piece of evidence, it's only leaving Julian left being a very key focused person that could have potentially caused this to be withheld. So now she's trying to do all her best to pin it on Julian, but at the same time still try to be on Team Olympia, as again her and Julian has decided, despite their brief attempts to rekindle, they are going to go full force with their divorce. It's done. Any sort of reconciliation is gone. It's time to move forward. And Matt, and I think today the elevated fear was that I believe there was some movement on the pen, that the pen was originally meant to just be placed in Julian's office, trying to get any sort of leads or like hints of I forget the name of the documents again. But however, I believe there was some movement on there. I want to say so. And yeah, so I believe it got moved. So that's a pretty hot topic right now. But also again, Maddie's trying to still be on Team Olympia while also trying to still trying to get close to Julian. But again, being in between to this, and her obviously being more on Olympia's team more often than not when it comes to cases, has definitely kind of considering the fact that they're doing this. One of their clients is coming in to select one of the partners, not one of the partners, but like one of the. I forgot the title. I forgot Julian and Olympia's titles. I completely forgot. They're lawyers, obviously, but they have really. They're like they're retainers to pick a retainer out so that they could because there's an upcoming case and they need to start using their services. And Olympia wanting to show initiative and trying to get some of these big cases and kind of undercut Julian a little bit, kind of already usurps him away from Julian while Julian's looking for them. Maddie, who again trying to play Team Olympia, also is trying to be neutral with Julian, but Julian can really catch on to her, starting to begin to see her bullshit. Like, oh yeah, well, I know you saw her. I know that you saw her with my prospectful client, my go-to. I'm his go-to retainer, but okay, well, if you want to play like that, okay. And I believe I think that was Julian's only scene in the episode. I believe I could be wrong, but Olympia is pitching her case to the representative of the business that is here for. Apparently, he runs or is responsible for a retirement home that is going through some controversy right now, as one of their livees has passed away. Which again, it's a retirement home; it's nothing out of the ordinary. But the remaining family is claiming, something's wrong here. He's already complained about the comforts of the living home, and also there was some irregularities with his death. So they're looking into trying to sue the home to see if there's any mischievous activities going about, and obviously they need to hire the firm to get them on board to prevent this from happening. So despite again, it's a job, so they got no choice really but to pursue forward with this. I want to say, yeah, so once she gets the buy-in from him to go take over the case, obviously there's a bit of a snafu between her and Julian about, this is unethical, I'm his go-to, but, let me say, okay, yeah, you're right, but he still chose me at the end of the day, so Julian's like, okay, you go do it, I'm not going to help you out at all, so I'm like, go nuts. So I think that was the last time I saw Julian for the episode, at least. At least that's what I remember. Yeah, because I remember the guy that Olympia was seeing, but never anything officially romantical, says okay, well, again, hands are tied. Technically they hired the firm. There is no official retainer on play. Obviously, it was quote unquote Julian, but if he wants to go for Olympia, then there's something we can do about it. So yeah, the team starts getting to work on that, kind of giving us a little bit of a recap of what's going on. So again, the man had some recent injuries, and the assumption that he succumbed to them. One night he got a cold, and then the cold was too much for him, and he passed away. That was the assumption. However, again, there's obviously some discrepancies there. The house has been kind of known for some extracurricular activities, meaning that this is a get freaky type of house. So yeah, I mean, again, look, they're all single, they're all ready to mingle, and they're at the last years of their lives. So I'm like, it doesn't really matter what happens. I mean, at least in their book. So with Maddie on staff, it makes it once again Maddie to go undercover and see what all the hullabaloo is about here. And she obviously can't just go by herself, because then we'll just get a cartoon moment where they accidentally admit Maddie, and we'll be here for an entire episode. So Sarah's going with her as acting like a grandma, grandkid. partnership to see if they can like just peer around and see what the heck's going on over here. I don't quite know if there's anything else going on at the current moment, so we head over to the retirement home. Obviously, Maddie playing the soon-to-be joinee for the group, and she's kind of like trying to insert her in, kind of like trying to get in the good graces. There's like a popularity club, the gardening club, is what they like to call it. Where they're friends, but also they get around with a lot of the other men, and they do say the ratio is not quite the best for them. So a lot of the men kind of have to share a partner. Or yeah, so no, actually no. A lot of females have to share the same partner, so they're making Ross jokes about a couple of the go-tos, and obviously Maddie kind of shifts the focus on the recently this season. They're like, yeah, no, he was a good one, he was a nice one. However, we had an old member who, well, she's still alive, but she was part of us, and then they started dating, and then eventually after a while, they actually decided to go exclusive, and she left the group. And it broke the #1 code for the group is a garden hose before bros. And I literally cannot kid you not. That sounds like the cringe, yet I totally understand the context of this. So it works out. It works out. I'm not going to say much more than that. So from there, I want to say we get to Maddie does her own little undercover spiel. She heads over to the room of the woman that was his lover, girlfriend, partner, or whatever you want to call it. She is already in there, and Maddie tries to like gain her trust, trying to like gain her comfortability, trying to like see, and she does admit like, yeah, no, I came here looking to like meet new people, and then I joined the gardening club, but then after I met him, it kind of for me like, we were soulmates. It's like, obviously we found each other so late in life, so we wanted to really enjoy the last moments of our days together. And even that meant like kind of, alienating her friends as a result. And eventually Maddie accidentally slips up. She does admit a key detail that she was not told of, yet. And obviously that's questionable. The questionability kind of sticks in with the other person. And even she admits that, yes, okay, I'm a lawyer with the agent, with the housing. They're just trying to figure out what the heck happened. And she's like, well, you ain't gonna get an answer here, so please get the hell out of my room. So Maddie gives the news that like, at least for what she was able to assert, that most likely she's not involved in anything, or she's not aware of anything. However, I do believe that, oh damn, I've been so far away, I completely forgot their name. Billy had like an opening where like there was some credibility, where like there was a possibility that considering how, if things were, that there was a possibility that he may have taken a Viagra, and probably the effects of it kind of led to his death. And that's kind of like the working theory that they have. And then I want to say, this is a multi-day case, so I do remember that. And I do eventually know that they decided to kind of pivot to like trying to at least destroy the prosecutor's argument about like the time of death. Hopefully that Olympia can find an expert that can like really solidify when the time of death occurred, so that they could actually kind of already destroy a portion of the case, so it kind of helps them out as a result. They go off to do that while Olympia goes to talk to her friend / ex-friend / soon-to-be lover / ex-soon-to-be-lover. Trying to like get his assistants to get her connections with the expert. However, he snaps a little bit, assuming that Olympia's there to kind of like kind of kiss up to him and see about like to get her his vote on the partnership seat. And Olympia's like, well, I'm not here for that. I actually just need one of your experts. He's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Which I'm like, dude, you're in a law firm. I understand you're mad at her, but like, keep your cool, man. Yeah, keep your cool. So from there, I want to say we get to, we need to go to, I'm trying to remember exactly where we are now. I know Maddie gets called over. I think she was doing some solo research briefly, and her friend from, I want to say episode 3 or 4, it was the guy that misappropriated the from the pilot. I remember that from the pilot episode. So he's back, and I'm like, damn, I completely forgot about it. It took me a minute to register how they know him. Oh yeah, he was in the pilot episode. So he's there asking for Maddie's help again. Apparently, someone on the board is trying to get him out of the condo because supposedly they don't like him, and there's some, it's not fair because in fact he's lived there, he doesn't want to move, and he's trying to find any sort of legal loophole. Maddie just even bare extend, like, say, okay, well, yeah, there's a couple of things already that we could probably already rule in your favor, so let's convene right now and see what we can do. So again, pro bono work. Sarah and Billy work on the matter, and they're figuring out all these legal details that, yeah, there's a lot of contradictions, that they're trying to obviously do things their way, but at the same time they're not abiding by their own rules. So immediately a lot of these things that they're trying to push on him is already inexcusable and will actually delay the ruling, so he can actually stay in his house for at least a couple more weeks while they have more time to work on this matter. Also, I forgot to mention, Billy's back on the dating apps. He's back out there. He's trying to move on from his ex. And he's wearing a very, very old-fashioned belt, which I'm like, that doesn't work for you, bro. It does not work for you. So, I believe from there, eventually, there's a scene between Maddie and one of the assistants, and not the assistant, but like one of the supervisors, and I think there's a miscommunication. I'm not really sure what the hell happened there. I literally forgot. It wasn't something I can recall at the current moment. I believe that ends the first day, or no, we don't know. We go to court already. We're already having the first round of deliberations between the defense and Olympia and her and the prosecutor, trying to get at it, trying to establish this time of death, but these two are literally dead naked to each other, so it's kind of really hard to establish a firm one when there is nothing really concrete to do so. And I believe they also run a toxicology report. Sadly, Viagra is not in his system, so they cannot use their big red herring right now. I do know there is a moment where I believe Maddie's back home with her husband. They're kind of discussing things about just retirement home, about like they just and then finally dawned to realize that, oh, we're old and we're trying to raise a kid. Like, there is a possibility we might not even get to high school graduation. And of course, obviously, her husband, being the very supportive person he is like, no, we will make it there. We will. It'll just obviously take us some time, but we'll get there. We'll get there together. And Maddie's like, I don't know. We got to like cut back. We got to eat more kale. We got to stop eating ice cream, which I'm like, there. Well, I don't even eat ice cream that much anymore, so I'll be fine with that. Kale, I mean, kale could be good. Probably. I know eventually I'm a little out of order here with certain things, because I think this was a very much of an expedited case where I want to say we get another night scene between them. I just forgot the order of how we went, where Maddie and her husband are talking again about certain things about dementia and everything, and I want to say most likely, oh yeah, I forgot, we get to see where like Sarah and Maddie go back to the home to get a couple more pieces of evidence, and I'm a little really out of place here, because I know we cut to the next day. The man from the pilot comes back. Well, he did exactly what they said. Apparently, there was already other complaints ready to go, and sadly, those complaints were enough to kind of finally get him evicted from his condo. So sadly, he is homeless at the moment. And he even actually gives him a piece of clue, because like he's looking at this like security system, which is like kind of used in that he's more prominent in, and he notices that, oh yeah, no, this piece of tape actually shuts off the sensor. So technically, it's already maliciously being used to be blocked. So obviously, they run with this, and like, oh shit, someone actually tampered with this. So pardon my French. So like there could be something along the surface here. So yeah, so going from there, yeah, so that's when I believe Maddie and Sarah have enough reasonable doubt to go back into the home, and that's when Sarah and her run into one of the people that they met the other day, who has dementia, so she's having one of her episodes, and obviously Maddie has no real experience here, but Sarah does, singing to her and trying to calm her down and trying to get her back to her room, and obviously Maddie's taken back by this, and then she goes back to the girlfriend's room that she was in the last time, and where do we go from there? I want to say, where do we go from there? 100% speaking. Yeah, so from there we go back to yeah. No, so she goes there. She not only does confirm that the security system there is also blocked off as well, considering the fact there might be some mutual connection here. But the other fact is that she looks into her drawer and she finds his ring that was missing at his time of death. So now this is all the smoking guns they need to put possibilities to her that she might have been somehow involved in this matter. And then I believe from there, yeah, no, I believe then finally we get the one of the scenes where Maddie and her husband talk about the dementia thing, and Maddie's also afraid, like, just what if that's a possibility too? Like, maybe we're still alive, but we can't remember Alfie's. Like, what can we do? And they're like discussing possible options. We're like, well, we still have family, around that could still possibly, be ready to go if something ever happens to us. And obviously that's morbid to say, but like you got to be realistic in life, to be honest with you here. And then where he detects, like, yeah, there has been some movement in the pen, the recording pen they've been using. So now it's officially in Olympia. I think it was moved over to Olympia's office, or it's been moved over, period. So now, obviously, now this kind of, undermines the plan and everything. So now they realize, what the fuck do we do? And then conveniently the next day, I'm already forgetting the order of this. I do apologize. Where they are discussing the case, getting ready to go for the next step. And however, Billy does notice the pen, and he realizes, oh, this is a recording pen. That someone is trying to get your voice. Someone's trying to figure out what's going on. Obviously, Maddie's completely shocked by it. However, Olympia's like, well, let's calm down here. There's any number of things that could be going on here. Let's break it down. Obviously, their go-to answer is probably they dismiss the two for the time being, just trying to figure out what's going on here. She confides in Maddie about where things are going, and she does believe maybe Julian has something to do with it. Obviously, they just began the divorce proceedings, that he's maybe probably is trying to get some dirt on her to use against her in the divorce. That's kind of like her prevailing theory, and then she's ready to go confront him about it, but Maddie's like, well, wait, hold on. We don't necessarily have to go that route yet, because, like, yeah, he's just going to deny it. He's not going to confirm it. So maybe we should take a step back and just, play it out. See how it goes. But, however, Olympia decides to play on the offensive and gives the pen over to Billy to give it to his cop family to go look into in their lab, see if they can figure out where this pen exactly came from. Obviously, Maddie being, sadly, not exactly in the same wagon over here on that. So I also want to say this. So I also, for some reason, I forgot when this scene happened, but yeah, Maddie also got permission to give the secondary case, which was the her friend, the witness from the pilot, who is now having his own case over here with the condo board, giving him either Billy or Sarah to defend him in his case. Or prosecute, or regardless, to represent him. And at the time, Maddie does choose Sarah because she saw how Sarah did at the home. That maybe it's time for Sarah to, like, this could be her first big step. And obviously, she gets super excited about it, ready to, like, finally take charge on a case and, like, try to really make it her own. And she's very excited about it. However, also Maddie's got the other agenda of, like, she needs to get that pen away from them so that they don't know, because even though they paid for it in cash and everything, technically you need an email to register it, and I believe there is a way they could track it back to Maddie. So they're trying to really figure out what is our play here. What do we do? So I believe from there we get to, so Maddie tries to pull a fast one in the office, and then Billy catches her. So I'm just thinking to myself, okay, how is Maddie gonna get herself out of this one? Thankfully, and again, not thinking of the bigger picture, not thinking of the specific pictures, is that she does decide to give Billy the case instead, to make him happy and make him unsuspicious to what she was actually doing. Which obviously Billy's elated. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. If I gave it to Sarah. And Maddie's like, well, yeah, Sarah definitely did recent efforts to earn it, but considering the fact that, obviously we need to think of the client, not our fellow peer, that you are the better representative for this case. And so, in a very sad scene where Billy goes back into one of the consultation rooms where Sarah is again taking charge of the case with the client, Billy does tell her, check your phone, and then I should probably let you take the notes. And obviously we don't get the full reaction to this scene because we just don't got time for it, but I'm pretty sure there would have been a nuclear meltdown at some point. So I believe from there we go to where do we go from here? I believe I apologize. I believe we finally get into the courtrooms. I am not remembering if there's any other secondary scenes going on. I think we just go straight to the parallels where they decide to call upon the girlfriend as the witness, trying to, let her know that, like, hey, we are very well aware there was a lot of, faulty things at play here that happen to be connected to just you and him. And, they're just slowly trying to paint the picture of how, obviously they were in love and everything, but like, it was just all too coincidental. Like, you have the ring, both of your system happens to be disconnected with a special tape. Like, how is that convenient? Again, it was just all too, it was all too grand. It was all too coincidental for their liking. And then at the parallel, Billy's handling his first case, and his competition is other than Joe from Blue's Clues. And it took me a second to remember, like, Joe from Blue's Clues? I'm like, damn. I'm like, I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't. It took me a second to realize that. And they're going head to head a little bit, going, obviously, fair to them. And there was a brief moment where Billy does kind of stumble. He's like, ah, shit. I want to say this is going to bite everyone in the ass someday. But thankfully, Billy does come up with a last-minute plan. Considering the fact that the representatives for the condo board actually knew a piece of information that apparently was not relatively available. That the client he's representing did not even tell them at all, because according to his word, it's not their damn business. So Billy having to prove without doubt that he was set up by his neighbor to get him kicked out, and then eventually when it vacated, he would be able to purchase it and then expand his own property to include the additional square feet. So once Billy manages to establish that, he manages to win the case tenfold. Meanwhile, back at the other court, Olympia does definitely destroying her credibility. And it's not even like much like she denies it. She's like, okay, I will admit that he was tired. He did not want to live anymore. He wanted to go, and he requested my assistance to assist in taking his life, and I did it because I loved him. I held his hand for many hours before it was called in, and yeah, I took the ring because this is something that he would have wanted. I don't think she doesn't think it's illegal that she's doing it for someone she loves, but at the end of the day, like, again, it was his choice. So even though that she could potentially be charged for assisting a suicide, at the end of the day, she does not admit that she did anything guilty. That all she did was help the man she loved. And obviously, Maddie's just hearing all this, kind of like, trying to compose herself. Obviously, the grandkids are there too, trying to also compose themselves. That these are the true last actions of their grandpa, and I guess is not exactly what they were anticipating. So thankfully, Olympia manages to get, I believe, the lawsuit thrown out because of that, because of just the culpability of this specific man. That the home had nothing to do with it. It just was two lovebirds that were, at a very specific interjection in their problem. So I believe from there we get to, where do we go to here? Oh, right. So after that, we get back to the law firm where everyone's more celebrating Billy's victory, which again, like, from a standpoint, yeah, it didn't financially give them any money. I'm pretty sure this was still a pro bono case. But the fact is, again, Billy won his first case. He's still a junior associate, and it's still a big deal. It's, even if he didn't win any money, it was still a big deal. Everyone's happy. And obviously Sarah's in the background because this should have been her victory, her moment. And, yeah, everyone's celebrating for Billy, being happy about him. Maddie goes to her, having their first conversation since Maddie told her, I'm going with Billy. Obviously, she's confused as hell. How did we even get here? You literally told me this was my case. How did we go from then to now where Billy's the one being celebrated for the victory? And, of course, obviously for us, we knew that Maddie needed a way to get Billy off her trail. With her taking out the pen. And she just said, like, well, look, I did notice you did have a moment of compassion that we went to the nursing home, which again will not be forgotten as a sign that Sarah is beginning to expand her palette, to be able to like connect with the clients and maybe be able to like have a better connection to probably have a better chance of winning these cases. But she picked Billy again because she felt like he had a lot more experience, a lot more repertoire in that category, that, especially for now, because again, which is true. Like, you got to choose the best person to handle these sort of things. And for Maddie, she chose him. I mean, that was her excuse, at least. And she was trying to get Sarah to understand. And Sarah, obviously, she feels hurt. Because remember, between Sarah and Billy, Billy was the first one that really accepted Maddie. Sarah only accepted Maddie as like in a provisional matter. We're like, whoa, we work together. You're not a bad person per se. I can let my guard down just a little bit. And, again, this episode kind of being a little bit of a bonding moment between them. Where like, she does admit, yeah, I'm adopted. I had both my adopted parents were Caucasian. My entire family was, in a sense, Caucasian. And I, had, that a nice family growing up. And then sadly came a moment where my grandma, like, also had dementia. And it was a lot of rough a couple years where I had to balance out, trying to be a caregiver, but at the same time having my grandma, who loved her all her life, suddenly forget about her and just call her just a random girl that's like doesn't belong here. Like, it hurts her. And the fact she even admitted that to Maddie, um, it it doesn't it doesn't bolster well, because again, the timing of things. And again, like I said, Maddie can't be best friends with everyone. It does hurt Maddie, but at the end of the day, the goal is to get to who had the document. That's her goal. That's the mission, and she needs to focus on it. She already got sidetracked with Olympia, like all that. But like now, she needs to fully dedicate herself to the case. And sadly, if that did mean kind of having to burn a bridge with Sarah, that's kind of where she made her determination. And now Sarah does say, like, you are my enemy now. You're not gonna like it now that you're my enemy. So I'm like, shit. This will not end well for Maddie, but we don't focus on that quite just yet. Olympia goes back to that guy, and this time she does tell him about the partnership vote, and she does ask him, please do not vote for me. I do not want an ounce of palpability in the votes, that even if I do win, and if you vote for me, I don't want there to be favoritism. Like, oh, they were considering today, that's why he chose her. She wants to win without his vote. And even he just said, like, well, what happens if you don't win? And she's like, well, I'm young. I could always get picked up by a new firm, maybe start my own firm. There's a lot of possibilities for Olympia. Again, she's young and like still ready to like kind of, still do a lot more in the field before anything else. And if that ends up requiring not being there anymore, then, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly what things are meant to be accomplished next. And again, she does say like, well, I do value our friendship. And even though like things are a bit damaged right now between us, and hopefully we can get to that point where we can be friends again, at least. That's the hopefulness, at least. So then we come back to Maddie's home, I believe. Yeah, so, and then they're kind of just going over the end of the day already and trying to, like, kind of just be at peace a bit, like, just of everything that transpired in the last few days. And, yeah, to get back to the pen notion, where like the big twist was that, yeah, so Maddie didn't actually take back the pen. She switched out the pens. Because again, the original pen was technically, there was a link to her. So the idea was, well, why not, instead of like leaving the pen that can get back to Maddie on hand for Olympia to see, why not give her a pen that can give more probability that Julian was the one? Made her think that that was the case. So that, instead of like taking back the pen and, misplacing it somewhere, quote unquote, they planted a new pen with more Julian's credentials than the other one. So at least once they do the deeper dive research, it's going to lead into, Olympia explains the rest, where like she does call Maddie. She lets her know that, yeah, the forensics team from Billy's lab came back. So apparently it is registered to an email, but however, since there is an official registered email, they would need a special subpoena to gain access to that email. However, but at least for the time being, there's nothing that they could do to legally get this right now. It's just a hunch. There's nothing that can really assist her in like getting more information, but she is assuming that it is, Julian responsible for this. So now she's going to go on a warpath and dig up any sort of dirt on Julian she can, which could potentially include the documents that Maddie's looking for. So like if Olympia's managed to do the dirty work for Maddie, she doesn't even have to do much. So this could definitely be an easy way for Maddie to still maintain her victory and still possibly even stay at Jacobs and Moore's. Who really knows? But definitely, Maddie's now putting the pieces on her own end to kind of play the field a little bit to gain access to what she wants. But will she gain to what she wants? We'll find out in the next episode of Matlock, because this was it for this week's episode of Matlock. I enjoyed it. I really did. I feel like, Maddie finally being able to, like, crumble some bridges between Sarah and Julian. It was a bit of a risky move, to be honest with you. It may not pay off for her, but, like, at least from a storytelling perspective, it does give a little bit more of, like, okay, you know what, that Maddie's, starting to, like, not take things loose anymore. Like, she's got to make progress. She's got to make direction heading into her case, that this has to happen. If we have to let Sarah go, if we have to let Julian go, that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do, because Olympia remains her best poker chip at play right now to get what she wants. And so far, at least from the tone of it, it seems to be working. As for the other end, when it comes to Olympia herself, again, like, this show has slowly been trying to give Olympia a lot more fighting room than even I anticipated. Just, her learning from her mistakes, and, like, at least right now, she's not really focused more about Julian. She's just focused on just maintaining the relationship she would like to keep, and to be able to kind of move forward like that, not being aware of, like, what Maddie's really planning on the surface for her. But I do believe, like, I'm very curious to see how things fall apart, because again, with this show getting a season 2, it's gonna be very hard for me to see that this lie has to blow up at some point. There's absolutely no way we're going to be able to continue calling this show Matlock if Maddie's not in a courtroom or involved on the legal perspective. So definitely there is something there they're going to have to play. And again, setting up the minor cracks with her and Julian, setting up that major fraction between her and Sarah is definitely going to become worse and worse and worse as we pass with every episode to come. And that's what I'm excited about. At the same time, I'm worried about, considering the fact that Maddie is doing this for noble reasons, obviously illegal reasons, shady reasons, but you just don't want to see her lose. But at the same time, it's like, the shoe's going to crack eventually. Like, there's only so much you can do that goes her way. Like, again, everything seems to be going, even if it's not perfect, it's been going her way. And eventually, something's going to have to give. And I feel like we're now beginning to get to those moments where, like, we're building up to that point where Maddie's not going to be able to cover herself. She's not going to be able to get herself out of this. And that's exactly where I'm expecting things to go. But with all that being said, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what did you think of this week's episode of Matlock. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. As always, I would love to have a conversation with you about it, because I want to. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every season in the first season of Matlock. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two beside our Matlock episode reviews. Also, we do The Rookie. We do brand new episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on ABC on Tuesday nights. Next week, we kick off another new review series actually, no, that's the week after that. We come back to Reacher next week. But since Matlock and Reacher will technically air new episodes on the same day going forward for a while, Matlock will get primary time slot privileges, because, again, that is set time period. Reacher comes out at a specific time on Amazon Prime, so Reacher can wait. So next week, we're going to do a lot of work on there. And then also the following after that, Stephen Amell's back on TV, everyone, with Suits LA. We will be reviewing the entire hopeful first season of his brand new show, the offshoot to USA Network's Suits. So we're very excited. So we're going to be very busy over here. Obviously, we have a brand new episode of After the Theater coming up in just a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that as well. But if you only care about Matlock, you're in luck. We'll be back this week on time with another brand new episode review for you. I have coordinated my schedule to make sure that I will be here. So fret you not. But again, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't yet, like, favorite, share if you want to, ring that bell, and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.